My name is Edwin Zapata, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Your Next Step, New Tools for Financial Abundance Now.
I'm Geraldine Carrier, the author of the upcoming book, Wild Woman, Master the Art of Pride, Presence, and Productivity.
A book can be more than just stories. It can engage your audience, create opportunities, generate leads, but only if you have the book work for you.
BCBtv presents Message to Millions, where we spotlight authors and get their message to millions.
Hey everybody, welcome to Message to Millions, Author Spotlight, where we spotlight authors and get their message to millions. My name is Edwin Zapata, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Your Next Step, New Tools for Financial Abundance Now. And I'm here with my co-host,
Geraldine Carrier, and I'm the author of Wild Woman, Master the Art of Pride, Presence, and Productivity. We're super excited to be here. We have another amazing author. Edwin, do you want to tell us about her?
Well, of course, it's not every day that you get to speak to a literal international speaker. She's spoken on live international stages on several continents all around the world, physically and, of course, digitally. She is the one that can sometimes get you out of, if you go through a divorce, it can get sticky, it can get a little dark, and she's the one that can help get you out of that and shine some light on the situation. She's been trained as an expressive arts therapist, aka Life After Divorce Guide. That's what she's known for. And she's also the author of The Gift of Divorce. You got to think positive. And of course, if you go to movingforwardafterdivorce.com, you can get a free downloadable copy of her new mini book, Moving Forward After Divorce. So this goes without saying, of course, there could be nobody else except who we're going to be speaking to today, the one and only Miss Leesa Landry.
Wow. Guys, I gotta carry you guys. I gotta have you around me all the time. You're really good for my ego. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Leesa. I wanted to ask you right away, this is going to be kind of a curveball because this is something I can't wait to do now that the world is opening back up. What's it like being able to say that you've literally traveled like all across the globe to different continents to actually speak to people around the world, different cultures, different societies, different languages, and actually make an impact globally? Because not many people can say that.
Well, first of all, I miss that. I mean, I do a lot of online events now and definitely get to connect people, still connect with people. And I love it. I love it. But there is something about being live in front of people and then being able to meet them and actually touch their hand or give them a hug. So I just love the energy of meeting people. And you know what, even though I'm meeting people all over the world, all different cultures, in the end, we're humans. We're all the same. We have the same heart. We have the same feelings. We go through the same emotions. And that's why I love to travel and I love to spread the message and help people, because underneath it all, it's we're all the same, and we all want to move forward in life and just have more love in our life.
So with the go ahead, Gerry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'll wait.
All right. So don't mind me. I'm just a little excited to ask Leesa this question. Now, a lot of people, and I saw this firsthand growing up as a child of divorced parents, and I was able to see the turmoil, and it wasn't pleasant watching it. So I could imagine what they're going through. And when people go through a divorce, there's usually that dark period afterwards. Some people have a better experience than others. What inspired you to basically take the experience of a divorce and turn it, I don't know the full story, but if it was negative, how did you take that as a negative and turn it not just into a positive, but also into a brand that you can help reach people out there and shed light onto darkness? How were you able to do that?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. There's so much I want to say about that. First of all, it started how I end up going. So I'm trained as an expressive art therapist, as I said. And what that is I get to play with all the art modalities, whether it's writing or painting or doing drama, using sound and movement. So I use all these different art modalities along with speaking to help people. That's my psychotherapy, to help people move from what they're struggling with, to change it and to help them to create something else. So that's what I was trained to do. And through that journey, I end up getting my own practice. I was working with some other agencies, and then I went out on my own. And what I found, Edwin, is that I started to attract a lot of people going through a divorce separation. And just like you, it made me think of my parents' divorce and what it was. And I think of my mom in particular, what she was going through afterwards. It's, she did the best that she could, but you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So she made a lot of mistakes along the way, and she didn't always have that support. And it also made me think about my relationship. I was in a 9.5-year relationship. And when it ended, it was devastating. And there was a lot of chaos. But what happens, and what I found with my clients as well, is once you move through the divorce, it's sort of like an awakening happens, and you have a path to take. You can either keep going the same route you've been taking and making mistakes and not really even being clear what you want. And that was, for my mother and some of my clients, before I started to work with them, that's kind of what was happening. They were just reactive. They were just going what came next. They didn't really think about what they wanted. And with me, how it happened is I was very aware that, this had ended, my whole life changed. My Sundays have changed. I had a routine. We would always go to my partner's parents, and we had certain friends, and that all changed. And I thought, well, what else, in my life am I not really happy with? And I started to look at my job, and I started to look at all areas of my life. So that's when I decided I was going to go back to school. And that's actually how I ended up becoming an expressive art therapist, which later went to coaching. But because of my watching people, what they went through, and then also knowing what I went through, and then the journey of where I am now, it's what led me to focus on this niche. I knew I wanted to focus on this niche. When these people first started to come, I didn't always just work with people going through a divorce. It's just, I seemed to be attracting these people. So that's what kind of gave me a little, what's this about? And something was resonating about that. So I knew from my experience in psychotherapy, I knew how to help them to move through that pain, or even that anxiety about moving forward. And it's about creating a new path. So I knew how to take them from there to creating their ideal life, to rediscovering who they are, and really mapping out what do they want to do with their life? Who do they want to have in it? How do they want to live it? So that's the first part. You have to help them to create a map, a roadmap to get from where they want to be to where they are to where they want to be. But I do have to say, that's why I'm excited also to be on this podcast, because when I did decide that this is who I want to work with and how I could help them, that was great. But I knew who I wanted to work with. The problem was no one going through a divorce knew that I wanted to work with them. So it was like, how do I let these people know about what I do, right? How can I help them? How can I get in front of them? So it was actually because I decided to write a book. That was a way of me getting out there, kind of, really different, what's the word? Making myself stand up. Thank you. Making myself stand out from my competitors, and just being seen on who I really help. And, allowed me to get on stages, allowed me to, I do a lot of workshops. So that was get people know about these workshops. So that book was such a great tool for me, helping to get in front of my target market. There's so many ways I was able to use it to get that publicity and to get people to know about me.
I'm really interested because, of course, I know you personally. I know your expertise. You are a rock star when it comes to, business and branding yourself, putting yourself out there, and really niching in on, being of service, right? So when I think of Leesa, I'm like, it's, being of service. But a lot of the people who follow us and listen to these things, they might be in the place of, they're just starting to rediscover themselves, to finding out what it is they actually want to put out in the world. And with a topic like the gift of divorce, of course there's so much like, ooh, that's a touchy topic. But how did you go from finding what it is that you were good at, and the conversations that were coming up, and how did you figure out how to put that into an offer, or how to make that to be a service to help other people to overcome that as well? How was that journey like for you?
Well, first of all, one thing I'm not I haven't said yet is the subtitle of the book, which is really important for those who are interested in writing a book, is the subtitle, because the subtitle is going to tie it in. So my book is called The Gift of Divorce, which, like you said, Gerry, kind of controversy. What's that about? But the subtitle is How the Ending of Your Relationship Can Be the Beginning of Finding Your True Path in Life. So for me, and my philosophy in life is, we don't make mistakes. We learn lessons. We don't fail. We learn lessons. So, like I was saying earlier, because I saw what my mom, she missed out on opportunities. Because she didn't have that goal. She didn't have that path. And because I know these stories, so I saw what she did, where she didn't get to be, and she could have. With myself, I saw, because I was willing to be open and explore all these avenues of my life, right? The divorce really helped me to get clear, about, I'm not happy in this area of life. What other areas aren't I happy about? So that just allowed me to deal with what I'm not happy about, and to figure out what I wanted. So I guess what you're saying is, are you asking me, like, how did I develop, how did it was a process. So I know what worked for me. I know how I started out. So I guess another thing that I did that I haven't mentioned, I'm also certified as a passion test facilitator. So what that does is I help, and this tool really helped kind of bring it all together. It's, what are the top 5 areas of your life? What do you want to create in these top 5 areas of your life? Or I should say 6 areas of your life. If we think about, relationships, whether that's with romantic, family or friends, career, finances, health and wellness, spirituality, whether that's, having a stronger connection to God, going to church more, or walking out in nature, whatever spirituality is for you. What's the 6th one? Darn.
I thought you were about to say walk out naked. I was like, that.
Well, for some, that might be they might decide they want to become naturalists, right? But you don't know.
Cause some divorce.
You don't know until you ask yourself these questions. If you look at all areas of my life, when my life is ideal, I am living in a house full of windows with a brook in the back, when my life is ideal, I see friends every week. Like, sometimes when we think about creating our life, sometimes, well, some people don't dream enough. Some people don't even just think about the everyday things, because we can look at the big picture. We do want to look at the big picture, but it's the little things that really help us to enjoy our life. So by me taking that, doing that program, getting certified, it was a way for me to organize how to get people to just get clear what they wanted. Because once you're clear on what you want, right, then you can create that goal or that vision, and the mindset to get there. And you're also able to, and then what comes up is obstacles. So we know what we want. So now, how do we deal with those obstacles that might come up? And that's where my psychotherapy / coaching comes in, because I'm trained in, how, it's all, how do we deal with that with our mind? How do we have the right mindset and the tools and the support, right? So that's, and then through working individually with people, I realized, well, I could actually, create a program and work in a group setting and deliver these this path. Some of the things I talk about is, when the fairy tale ends, this is about, before we can create our future, we have to honor what, in this case, the divorce. We have to honor that ending, and we have to have closure to that ending. Regardless if you were happy, yeah, get out of that relationship, or it was devastating, and how, oh my God, I can't believe we broke up. Regardless, you want to honor what was. At one point you did have a beautiful relationship, and there was beautiful things in it. So you want to be able to acknowledge that and end it. One of the exercises I do is, rewrite down what are the beautiful elements of your marriage, what was working, what did you like, and maybe what did you miss? What are you going to miss from it? And once we're able to bring that up and give voice to it, I do this exercise where we create, it depends. If I'm doing a live retreat, we'll actually have a bonfire and we'll burn it. If not, we'll do a symbolic exercise where there's a campfire. And it's about saying what's important to you, because sometimes we can think things, but until we actually write it down and have someone witness us, and to know what we're going through, then it's easier to let it go, because we can't move forward until we say goodbye and close that. It's not about forgetting, it's about accepting and moving forward. So that's one of the things where I start. And then it's your time, what do you want, discovering what, who you are, where you want to go. And then I talk about finding your inner CEO, right? Finding those, we all have these different voices in our head. So, and sometimes those voices aren't good. So being aware of those voices that aren't working for us, but also calling in those mentors, the energies of those mentors, so that when we are struggling with those obstacles, if we bring in the wisdom of how they might deal with it, it just gives us the strength. That's just one of the directions I might move clients in. But it's really, and then it's also about, it's great to get where you want to be, but unless to take yourself to the next level, it's about giving back. It's about reaping what we sow. When we can give back, and that's sort of what I'm doing, because from what I went through, I'm able now to give back. And that's what I teach my clients. How can you leave your legacy? How can you give back? And that just takes the growth and the fulfillment that you have to the next level. I'm not sure if I've answered your question, but that's sort of the journey of how I get to where I am now.
I like how you structure things in a journey, because it gave me the idea of, for example, a tour guide. So when you go on vacation and you go on an excursion, you're going to go through an experience. If it's a jungle, if it's like an ancient site, whatever the case is, you're going to go through things that you've never experienced before. Chances are you've never experienced it. Some of the things might be good, some of them might be bad, some might be scary, some might be exciting. You don't know. But the tour guide has done this over and over, and they've heard all the reactions. They know where the wow is, they know where the scare is, and they know what's coming up. And from what I heard you share is you're essentially a tour guide that helps people that are visiting the I don't want to call it a vacation, like divorce is a vacation, right? Like that's a destination you want to go to, sort of thing. That's not what I'm saying for anybody, like you don't want to visit there. But if you happen to visit Divorce Island, then Leesa essentially is a tour guide to help you along those bumpy rides, and so that you don't have to feel like you're drowning. And just as a discretion out there, because it made me think of this question, just in case, Leesa is not out there encouraging divorce. Okay, for those of you thinking she's a homewrecker, how she's out here telling women to get divorced, fellas, you have nothing to fear. Because also, fellas, this can apply to you too, to help either save your marriage or help you get through what's happening. So I wanted to ask this question because this might cause some divorces. So you, all of you can blame me, not Leesa, for this one. But I wanted to ask you because, sometimes people, they fall out of love or things change, people change, circumstances change, and maybe they've been in the relationship for so long that they think that they have to stay, sort of thing, and that divorce is not an option. I'm not out here to promote like, absolutely, you're having a bad day, go get a divorce.
Sign up here, you can get a divorce.
Yeah, because if that's the case, then I'd like a commission off of each one of those. But what I'm trying to ask is, for those that don't know if maybe this is the move for them, because 100%, it's a scary thought. Like, you've had this relationship for so long, maybe there are kids, finances, family, other things tied up in the mix, and you don't know if maybe this is the right thing. How would you help guide those people? Because I'm sure you probably get that question, like, should I divorce? How would you help those people as a tour guide?
So first of all, they're at the wrong booth. Because, one of the things I say is I help people who are ready to move forward after the divorce. So, and that's why I want to make it clear to people. I'm your guide. I'm your life after divorce guide. So I'm not there if for some. One of the things I definitely say is to people, and I say that too, I'm not promoting divorce. If someone is considering divorce, before you even, get into that, go get some help, as a couple, if you can, go see counseling, go get some kind of coaching counseling to see if you can work out your issues. Absolutely. And then if that happens and you've actually gone through the divorce for whatever reason, you're on that divorce island, but you have your bags because now you're ready to leave. That's where I come in. So I'm going to come in my tour boat and I'm going to pick you up in the dock because you're already waiting to get off that divorce island. So I just want to make that clarity there. The other thing I wanted to make a point of is what I love is I like that you're saying tour guide, but I also want you to be your own tour guide. I want you to be adventurous. I'm going to give you the map. I'm going to help you with you. Where do you think you might want to go? Let me help you create that map. Here's a what do you call that? North, south, east, west. What do you call the
compass?
Compass. Here's your compass. Here are things that might come up, right? You might go down this path. What do you do if that happens? Be aware of those signposts. You want to get to this direction? Here's some signposts here's some signposts to be aware of.
Even some ducks in the water.
Yes.
Watch out for the ducks.
That's right. Watch out for the ducks. But in the end, I empower them to go on that path. Now, am I gonna, can they put a little what do you call thing up in the air to get my attention to ask for help? Absolutely. But what I really do is I'm encouraging, I'm empowering you. Let's close that. Let's burn the ties to that divorce island. It's gone. It's in your past. Say goodbye to it. It was great, but we don't want to deal with those snakes anymore. And let's help you get to where you want to be because you can do it. I'm just there in the background to help you to get clear where that is and give you the tools of survival, right? That's really what I want to do. I want to empower you and just help you to get, what do you want in your life? This is your second, it could be your third, but your second or third time around. If you haven't talked to me before, your second. This is a time that you get to create your life. You get to really discover what you want, how you really want to live your life, who you want to have in it. We think this is, but how many people actually ask themselves, what kind of people do I really want to have around me? The people I have around me, are they really serving me? Sometimes they have to be in your life, but can you put up boundaries? How do you put up boundaries? What can I, what I want to, this is, we only have one life in this body, depending on your beliefs, you might come back again, but in this body, we only have one life. So let's live it to the fullest. Let's really decide what we want, because you really, really can live your life on a bigger scale and really be more aligned. And what I also do is helping you to connect to your, for me, we have an energy inside us. Like I call it, for myself, I do call it a soul. Other people might have a different name. And what I do is I help open up that communication, right, between our human self and our soul self, so that you can really just take it to the next level in this life.
So just so nobody gets the wrong idea, I'm going to throw this back out there, something that you had mentioned. Because Leesa said, in her analogy, you want to basically burn Divorce Island. Now, I don't want anyone to get ideas and go out there and try to literally start a fire or set on fire their former spouse. I'm just throwing that out there. We're not here to burn people, literally, although probably some of them deserve it, because I know we got people with mixed feelings out there. So maybe mentally picture it, but don't actually go set people on fire. It was a metaphor, okay, folks?
The island, not the person. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. So yes, I want to jump into this because not a lot of people know that I myself have also gone through divorce. And when you say the gift of divorce, to me, that really hits me, because absolutely, I can attest to the fact that, we all go into things thinking that that's going to be the answer. That's going to be the happy pill. That's going to fulfill me and what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. And now that I've gone through that experience myself, and you can, it can be a job, it can be, a relationship, it can be, anything that, comes along in life that we think that's going to be the key to happiness, right? And so having gone through that journey myself, I can definitely say that through that experience, I was able to, become a better person, more nurturing, more caring. And it was, again, a gift to myself in that, the relationship also moved aside, because it was like, this is not serving us and who we are becoming and the people that we want to be. So, I mean, I had a good outcome, so thank you for that. But, not a lot of people go through that. And so there's a lot of things that people have to go through to actually get to that point of, having those questions of, what actually makes me happy? What actually gives me fulfillment and contentment, and what kind of person do I actually want to be? So when it comes to that, and like you had mentioned, everybody knows what they don't want, right? But few people know what they actually do want. So when it comes to that, what kind of exercises or tips and tricks can you pass along to our listeners who may also be in that spot of, I don't actually know what I want, or, dreaming more? What does that actually look like? What does that feel like? How do I actually know what makes me happy? What are some things that you can give to our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly, I guess that's the first place to start is, first, I want to go back to one thing you said. Regardless, you're exactly right. There are some people that are going to be happy that this is a gift. Thank God I'm out of it. Let's move forward. And then there's other people that are devastated and still wanting to be in that marriage. So how can you find the gift in it? And one of the things, first of all, is if you don't know where to start, you definitely start with what you don't want. Because once you make a list of what you don't want, then you go back up to the list and you think, okay, so what's the opposite? If I don't want to be alone, then what do I mean? Well, because it's different for everyone. If someone says, well, that's obvious. That means I want to be in a relationship. Well, some people don't want to get another relationship, but they want to rekindle. They lost, that relationship was so smothering that they lost their community of friends, and they want to build that that they want to have a community of friends again. Right. So now they know what they don't want. Now they know they're very specific. It's not about having a relationship. No, I don't want another relationship. So what do I want? well, I want to be around. I want to have some girlfriends that I can just meet weekly, so, and that might just end up, maybe that's going to start the first step is then, okay, hey, maybe I'm going to join some Facebook groups. Maybe I'm going to join some meetup groups. For those of you who don't know what meetup groups are, any kind of interest you have in the world, you can go to meetup.com. I don't get paid to say this, meetup.com, and you can find a group of people who have those some interest and attend groups. So that's what the first thing I would do. I would say, what don't you want? And then what's the opposite? And get clear on that. Because what happens is how people find the gift. The gift could be, I mean, I had one woman who, she had always wanted to travel. She married young, she had always wanted to travel. And she ended up there's a walk in Spain. It's just, I forget, it's like a 2-month walk. It's a spiritual walk. And she ended up taking this, she ended up finally doing this. I think she was 50, 52, something like that. And she met her tribe. She met her people on this walk, and it created a whole new, life for her, right? They introduced her to some other programs, and she just built these beautiful relationships. And it would never have happened if she stayed in that marriage. Most likely would never have happened, just because of the way that marriage was. And because she was clear that she wanted to travel and she wanted to go to Europe, and tied in with these other steps, she realized where she wanted to go. So that's the very first place you got to start with. And then the other thing is, I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but getting clear where you want to go. And then I mentioned earlier, how do you deal with those obstacles? And that's why, shameless plug here, but that's why I love when people come to my workshops, because there's so many strategies, and there's so many tools on how to, why are those boundaries coming, or why are those obstacles coming up? How do you move through them? How do you get into the right mindset, right? How do you strengthen your inner self to get to where you want to be? Because sometimes you got to climb those mountains, right? Sometimes it's a nice little stream ride back to the tour. Hey, I like the stream. I'm going downstream. This is great. And then you're going to hit those rapids. And sometimes, and you're going to have to climb those mountains. And, but it's a journey. So how can you enjoy that journey and learn along that journey? Life is about learning and exploring. And that's how I want people to embrace those challenges.
I don't think there's a need for you to put it out there with shameless plug, because I think we should celebrate the fact that you have these workshops, that you have these groups, that you do this coaching. Because again, myself having been a child watching divorce happen, and it was definitely messy at the beginning, well, my perception of it, and then hearing, as I've gotten older, hearing people with their experiences, I could only imagine the kind of dark times that some people face, and the extremes that they're willing to take their life to potentially, sometimes maybe end it. Unfortunately, and that's a real conversation. So I think we need to celebrate the fact that you have these workshops and they're out there. And I think you also hit a key point with mentioning like the meetups.com, which, by the way, if meetups.com is listening, send the checks to Leesa.
That's right.
Because 100% it was not a plug. So make sure you pay her out on that one. But 100%, even things as simple as that, it will help distract you, keep you focused, and you're doing something that you actually love and enjoy. And you can find groups on anything from the most conservative type of, like maybe knitting or some type of yarn or whatever, or just finger paints, to the most extreme, wildest fantasy. And, I won't get too into that because then I'm going to get fired. But the whole point is you can find groups and people on what you like. And if you don't find it, you can actually make it yourself. And people will start to slowly come to your groups, and that will actually help you through that. And that applies to anything, not just divorce. If you're going through tough times, change your atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So I love how you basically put that out there. And I wanted to ask you another question, Leesa. Don't mind me asking all these questions, but I really wanted to dig deep. And when it comes to people that they go through divorce and they go through your coaching and your workshops, what's it like seeing that journey that they experience? So they basically come to you, of course, kind of confused. It's kind of like, I like to use the analogy of you open a bag of Skittles and it all spills on the floor. So it's like, it's kind of a mess. Everything's everywhere. But then when they're done with you, when you're done with them,
Yeah.
it's like they're all now contained. Everything's lined up. What's it like seeing that mess turn into an organized package?
So let me,
She's
how can I
speechless. See,
rephrase that?
She can't even think of her words. That's how.
So what is it like for me when I see someone who is lost, full of anxiety, has a lot of chaos in their life, is afraid of moving forward, or they don't know how to move forward? What is it like when I see them become the person they truly are?
Before you answer this, Leesa, hold on. Before you continue, I want everybody listening to understand why I asked this question, because Leesa is talking from a point of experience. So she went through it. And for all of you listening, if there's a passion or something negative in your life, you can turn it into a positive. So what she's about to answer, I want you to really take in the fact that there's something in you that you can bring out and share, and basically have the same type of change in the world with what it is that you like to do. And I just want you to see that. I want you to see yourself in what Leesa is about to answer.
Can you imagine living your life knowing what your passions are and letting them lead you to your purpose? For me to witness that through the people I've worked with, and seeing from where they were to them being so in alignment and so happy and so fulfilled. Like, I love to help people for selfish reasons because it makes me feel good, so it's really for those people, who are kind of like confused right now. What do they want in their life? Like, what, and being so unsatisfied with how they're living your life. Imagine if you could discover what your passions are. Imagine if you could really connect to what your essence is, what you really are put on this earth to do, and just to just feel happier. Like, imagine what that would feel like, living your life like that. So that's what I do. That's what I do in my programs. One of the first steps is just what Gerry said. Where do you start? Well, I have a program, and it's incorporating my passion test, is helping you get clear. What are your passions and purpose? That's the very first step I start them with. And, if people want to move on from there, then I definitely can help them to do that. But that's the very first step, because if you can get clear what you want and where you want to go, and you see that you're starting to move in that direction, you're just, those little things, those little irritations, they don't matter anymore, because you're living a more fulfilled life. And my goodness, if everyone could live a more fulfilled life in this world, it'd be a happier world. That's for sure.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. And I think, just to kind of go back to what Edwin was saying, just look at when she speaks, the heart, the connection, where that's coming from, right? So it's very different when we're talking about different things, or we're in jobs, or we're just kind of like, how was your day? Right? But when you actually have found that thing that you do really well, and you're able to express it and help other people to overcome that as well, just you light up, right? You can feel what she's saying, and that conviction and that integrity. So thank you so much for that. I want to help people who want to learn about the gift of divorce. How can people get a hold of you?
You know what? I want to thank you guys for having me on here. I really appreciate it. And I don't know who's listening. One of the things I think a book is so important. First of all, for those who want to write a book, I definitely think that this is the journey you should go on. But for those who want to get in touch with me and know what I do, I want to give a gift back. I really appreciate, and I want to give back to you, and I want to give back to your audience. So if you go to moving forward after divorce.com. There is a mini book I created, and that's 3 steps to move forward. 3 key essential steps to moving forward after divorce. And that way you can get connected to me, and I'm happy to reach out to you. So I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Well, thank you. It has been a pleasure. And I think that everybody that's listening to this is going to get so much benefit from this, you know, whether it be love, relationships, health, wealth, all that type of stuff. You are just an immense, you know, wisdom and knowledge to pass along. So thank you so much for being here with us. Of course, you know, the Message to Millions podcast is brought to you by none other than Black Card Books. And we also like to give away gifts. So if you want a free downloadable book of the Millionaire Mindset book, which of course is going to help you to find that gift within yourself as well, by our founder, Gerry Robert, go to bit.ly/blackcardbooks.com and make sure you guys grab Leesa's book. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next podcast.
BCBtv. Believe, create, become.